This is Brian Bailey here, bringing you perception and putting setup. Yeah, I know, it sounds super exciting, right? I'm going to call this the chicken or the egg inside of your setup. Is my setup causing a perception issue, or is my perception issue causing a setup and stroke issue? Good question, right? Well, let's dive in here and see if we can figure out what's going on. So in this, what they don't tell you, we're going to talk about perception. Merriam-Webster states it is a way to notice or understand something using one's own senses. We're going to talk about our eyes and putting, our perception of seeing the line. As you can see with this great cartoon over here, this is really confusing. If you look at the bottom part of the wood, it looks like 4 timbers, and if you look at the top, it looks like 3 timbers of wood. This is how confusing perception can be. So depending on where you're standing, how you're standing, and how you set your body, you can really influence what your eyes perceive. And that's really the big takeaway from this. So as we dive into this a little bit deeper, so now let's look at how perception can influence your performance. A caveat, for this video, we're assuming that your putting action is relatively reliable and somewhat predictive in start lines. So again, you have a pretty good putting stroke, but you're not making nearly as many as you think you should. So the question is does my perception, when I stand over the ball and I see a straight line, does this create a stroke inconsistency? Or the other question is, does my stroke inconsistency, let's say I have a big push stroke, so I've taught myself to see straight as left of the hole, thus allowing my push stroke action to allow the ball to enter center of the cup. So the question again is chicken and egg, what came first? Did I have a setup issue that created a technical piece, or do I have a really sound technique piece, but my head is in a bad position and influence the way that I move the putter? Those are the two big themes inside of this video. So let's dive in here and figure out how we can actually understand this, test this, train this, and improve our performance. Sounds great. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a simple perception drill, but really, if you think about it, is why will this help your performance? If you look down my line here, this is a straight 10-foot putt, and the body and mind see this as straight. I have a relatively good technical stroke. The ball is going to go straight down the line and hopefully in the hole. If the line appears to bend away from the hole, and yes, some people I'll actually see a dead straight putt look by bending, the path would bend, so that would give them the perception that it is no longer a straight putt, and now they'd have to manipulate the putter to hit it back to the center of the hole. I'm an aim point guy. I'd put my feet on this. I'd actually say, yeah, this is dead straight. Now when I stand over the ball, let's say I actually see this straight putt in my periphery as being a couple inches outside the cup. What am I going to do? Am I going to cognitively have some dissonance and override it and just know it's straight and try to send it straight down the line? Or is my subconscious, is my brain going to go, well, actually you are aimed a little bit left, so we're going to just open the face a little bit at impact so I can kind of guide it down and hit it in the center of the cup, and then I'll end up missing the putt. So you can see that this perception really has a lot of influence on your ability to make putts, and also your ability to manipulate your putting stroke, or vice versa, or set up in a position where you are, aiming not at the center of the cup, but you need to do that because that perception allows your putting inconsistency or the way you move the putter to be able to hit it center of the hole. So again, these are the questions that you have to understand, and can we actually address them and fix them? So there's a simple drill I learned from Doc Farnsworth. Craig, thank you for this. Basically take 5 balls starting in 2-foot increments from 2 feet to 10 feet, and you just want to put them in a dead straight line to the hole. So when you look down the line, you can see a straight line to the cup. Now you're going to address the furthest ball, so the UVA ball here at the very bottom of the screen at 10 feet. We're going to address the ball, and then we're going to perceive in our periphery, does this line look straight? Sounds kind of goofy for a lot of us, but you'll be amazed at how big of misses I've seen people have with this. So again, as you're looking down the line, do you perceive straight? Many of you will, like the center image here. You'll see straight down the line. Everything's good. That means your head position is in a really good position. You're perceiving this putt is straight. But for many of you, you will actually see this, what would perceive this line to actually bend. You would actually see this line look like it's actually starting to curve left or right of the cup. I've had tour players missing, perception-wise, 2-3 feet left or right of a cup on a relatively straight putt at 10 feet. So again, having this perception and understanding what this looks like is something you need to train, understand, test, And just, again, continue to monitor this. Because, again, a lot of putting stroke issues can really come from the fact that we're not perceiving straight. So as we kind of dive into this, well, okay, let's say I'm over the ball and I don't see straight. Well, what do I do with that, right? Now I've created more confusion. No, let's fix it. So the beauty of the body is your head can move in 3D space because of C7 without the body having to move, right? So I can turn my head, like the center image here, I can turn it left and right, or up and down, right? I can tuck my chin, raise my chin. The one to the right, you can see that I can tilt my ears towards my shoulders, tilt my ears towards my shoulders. So I'm moving my head in 3D space. And of course, the final one would be the first image. My head can go left to right, right? So those would be the options for me to be able to move my head independently of my body. It's important that we're actually going to use neck tilts for this. If we start, you can start moving yourself closer and further to the ball, and that will change perspective as well. But the danger of that is if you start moving closer and to further the ball, you're actually changing your putting stroke. So be careful there. If that's what's needed, it's okay. But understand that as I get closer and further from the ball, I'm changing a lot of components of my putting stroke. So here we're just going to isolate neck movements. The body's going to stay nice and still. And then from this, what we're going to do is just simply address the ball. Let me go ahead and play the video. And we're going to kind of perceive in space where our head can move, and we need to find straight. So I'm going to move my head around. You can see I actually see left. There, that actually makes me see right. Now I'm going to sink back in, and I'm actually going to see straight. So right there is where my head tilt needs to be. Now I'm going to tuck my chin and turn it. Now that changed my perspective. The actual line bends right. Bends left, I believe, or right again. So again, these head changes are manipulating what I see. So the beauty of this is you can stand over the ball with this drill, keep moving your head, and you can find a position that's comfortable and something that you can find and repeat. Once you do this, I would say do this drill one day and then come back and revisit it maybe a couple days down the line just to make sure that you're able to get in that same position. So the beauty of it is you have control in the way that you move your neck to be able to change your perspective and see straight. And then, of course, will this improve your performance? Well, let's find out. Boom. Thank you for watching this What They Don't Tell You, and we look forward to bringing you more great information in the future.